YouTube. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for sharing my content. Thanks for stopping by. Today is vlog number 7. 38 in school. 38-year-old married with 2 kids, a guy in school. Sharing my story, my reflections, and my days of going to school in this vlog. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. I really do. Because you could have went anywhere else, but you came here to listen to me. So I appreciate that very much. Well, here in Little Rock, we had a really crazy day. It snowed today. Ice outside, soft snow. So the city shut down when it does that. I thought I had a day off, but I didn't. I had to log in through the VPN. And also, my tech communications teacher, he didn't have class, but my web development class, we did meet up today on Blackboard. So, and we're starting to do projects with JavaScript, HTML, CSS, web development stuff. So we had to meet up. We couldn't really slack around. So I was doing JavaScript most of the day today. That really kind of wore me out a little bit. So I look a little tired, but been up coding, trying to rack my brain on JavaScript. So the nugget I have for the youth is don't be afraid to ask for help. But on the other side of the fence, you got to have something. Show him that you know what you're doing up to a certain point, that he'll help you through the rest of the way. What am I saying? The teacher can't do all the work for you. You have to do something. You have to put forth some kind of effort. So that's what I did today. He said I had like 90% done. I just forgot a couple of functions. I don't want to bore you to death with the nerd stuff. But that's what I was doing most of the day is doing JavaScript. So the kids wanted to go outside and play in the snow. But when you get old, like I do, we start getting older, you don't want to deal with the cold as much. You kind of want to stay in the house where it's nice and cozy and heated. And I know that they're going to take me outside tomorrow. We're going to go outside. I'm going to break because I want them to go outside. However, today wasn't that day. Daddy was doing his homework and he did not want to leave out that heat. So we will probably be outside tomorrow playing in the snow because I told him we would go outside tomorrow. After I do some more homework and so I'll log in at work, we'll probably go outside on my lunch break or something like that. So one of my motivational topics I want to talk about this evening is if I was to give a young person a strategy, boy, girl, man, woman, middle age, young age, whoever, if they would say, hey Mike, what you think, man? I just graduated high school. What you think I should do? You got any ideas or pointers? Sure I do. First, I would tell them when I graduated, became an adult, the world became bigger instead of just being at school for 8 hours, high school. Now you have the whole world. You have adults and your peers, and you got to deal with the corporate world now. So it's best for you to make a strategy. I did a post on Facebook, and I said that inflation is coming. And what I mean by that is when I was in high school, when I was in my 20s, rent for apartments and stuff like that wasn't astronomically high, but they slowly have risen up. Probably for a really nice apartment, you're probably looking at $900 to $1,200, and that's on the good side of town. You know, if you want to live in the Pines, you know, some of these, you know, old apartments, they may be $700 to $800, and that's before inflation hit. So when we're looking at a time where a lot of stuff that was affordable is going to be higher, and a lot of stuff that was higher is going to be astronomical. And if you're not in a position to where you can maintain that affordability, it's going to be really tough. It's going to be really tough. In my opinion, probably 10 years from now, 50,000 is going to be middle class. But I would probably say when I was in junior high school, 45,000 probably was like a gold standard. You were making 45, 50,000, you was doing great. But now with inflation and everything so high, you got gas, $3. The average house, I know back then, Bill, it used to be signs of you could build a house in a subdivision for like $120,000. Now to build a brand new house, you're looking at anywhere between $250,000, $300,000, somewhere in that range, easy. And that's the entry level. We're not talking about your dream house and everything, all the bells and whistles. We just talking about entry level subdivision house, probably $250,000, $300,000, somewhere in there. You might can find a house cheaper than that, but it probably ain't gonna be what you want, especially in today's time with all this inflation and stuff. So what I would tell a young person is, or anybody rather who wanna, matter of fact, leave comments, let me know. If anybody wanna talk, we can do a Zoom. We can meet up somewhere. We can have a little podcast, talk about it. They live in Little Rock. Some youth I know. I had no problem with that. But what I would tell them is, what are you naturally good at? What makes you you? What are you naturally good at? Everybody's naturally good at something. It's just, are you paying attention to yourself to know what you're naturally good at? And the next step is when you find out what you're naturally good at, can that translate into an income that's sustainable in order to, I'm not talking about being rich, I'm talking about being a millionaire. I'm talking about just sustainable where you can take care of yourself. You can maintain without having to borrow money, without having to worry about, if I have a medical emergency, this may wipe me out. I'm talking about an income that you can live and sustain on your own without having to rely on another person to fund your lifestyle. That's what I'm saying. A lot of times, people go to college or they pick a field that it doesn't bring a sustainable income. It's not sought after. Little Rock market is a little different. I don't know how it is in other bigger states, but a lot of bigger states have a little bit more room, a little bit more sought after markets than smaller states. I've noticed people I've talked to. And you have to really be intentional and smart about the topics and things you pick to major in, because you can really get in the position where you get done with it. You be like, wait a minute, I went to school for this and this job only pay $32,000 and I got a bachelor's degree. That's kind of weird. But you got to do your research. It's so much information out there you can find now on Google. You can look up job boards. It used to be a time where jobs didn't even post their salary. Now, jobs are starting to post their salary. It's almost like they're trying to weed out people. Like, don't even waste your time. This is how much we paying. If you don't want this, don't sign up for it. Don't even apply for it. It may not be like that, but that's what it looked like to me. But it used to be a time they didn't even post salary. You didn't even find out till you got to the interview and they kind of presented it to you. Well, you had a good interview, but I want to let you know that this job has a salary of X amount of dollars. Are you okay with that? But now, you can go to Indeed, look up jobs, and the salary is right there in the job description. This job pays this much. So it's something to think about. Does my talent relate to the corporate world where I can make a living for myself? Something to think about. The next step, are you ready to commit to your journey once the strategy's made? That's another thing. I had to learn how to do this myself, is to stick with something once you make the strategy, once you set out to do it, to stick with it. I know for me that when I got in IT, I found out that I was naturally good at it and I got with it. But before I went in IT, I went to school for body work, working on cars and stuff like that, because I like painting cars too. But my teacher told me, he said, it's something more to you than just paint cars. Because he said, you can paint cars. I don't have no problem with you doing it. You actually doing really good, but there's more to you than just paint cars. His name was Jacob Stanley. I think he's still working at Pulaski Tech, if I'm not mistaken. Collision and body work. But he always used to tell us, either you're going to make a plan or you're going to be somebody else's plan. I thought that was one of the coldest analogies I ever heard. It makes so much sense out here in the world. You either can make your own plan and strategy, or you're gonna be somebody else's strategy. And when you use somebody else's strategy, you're only gonna get so much out of that, and you're only gonna get paid so much. And what you gotta understand, young people in the corporate world, you only can get what you can negotiate and what your value is. And if you don't increase your value, you don't have any leverage to negotiate. So something to think about. Understanding that the best form of communication is your actions and results. People can try to deny you. They can try to talk behind your back. They can try to backbite you. But what they can't deny is your results. When you become an adult, when you become a man or you become a woman, you can try to hide what you do. You can try to, be something in front of everybody, but do something else when you're on your own. But your results speak for themselves. I'm telling you from experience, I did some of those things. Some things I would do around my family. Some things I do around my boys. And the results spoke for my 20s. Spent most of my 20s just working, having fun with my brothers, hanging out. Got into the chasing girls and stuff. And wasted so much time putting energy into that I should have been putting that energy into investing into my career and into Mike as a person. When you chase girls, I tell this to the young fellas out there, when you chase girls, you put so much focus and energy, you don't even realize you're doing it. When you take that focus and energy and put it somewhere else, you'll start seeing results that you didn't think that was there. I know for me, I did. I started seeing myself advancing and doing more things than when I was in my 20s. I was just comfortable with just working a job and doing a 9 to 5 and coming home and then, doing my little lifestyle or whatever. But when I changed, when I made a turn and took that energy that I was focusing on that and put it towards my education and my career, everything started to change. It was like night and day almost. And what I would tell you is I had to be accountable to myself. When I went back to school, this is why I tell young people this. When I went back to school, I was an adult. I was well into adulthood. I was like 20, after 25, 26, 27, something like that. I was working at the airport as a shuttle driver, 2 to 11, and I would go to school full time, probably going in like 7 to 8 to about 11 to 12, something like that. I would try to go home and take a nap if I had enough time, and then I would go to work and be a shuttle driver at the airport. So, what am I saying? I don't wish that on nobody. It's a rough journey, but I told myself that if you can do all that energy into chasing girls and do what you did in your 20s, have all the fun, you can take that same energy and apply that to going to school and working full time. That's what I did, and it turned out better because I made the turnaround. And I've seen nothing but positive results from it. Some things I still had to work through, and I'll talk about those things later, probably on the podcast. And also, you guys check out the podcast. It's called The Thinking Game. Me and my buddy Jay, we talk about growing up in the inner city and things. We had to think our way through some stuff and learn about some stuff because we didn't have mentors when we was coming up. It was just me and him. We was bouncing ideas off each other, and we figured it out, and got to the point where we're at now. But understand, young people, your results and actions speak a lot. Because a lot of people don't know you, but they'll know you from your results and your actions. Like if you on top of your business, you taking care of your business, taking care of your bills, and everything's great, people be like, oh, he a good dude. You taking care of your business, but you're always behind, or things always happening sometimes, and life happens, but sometimes you can bring stuff on yourself, and sometimes life just happens, and people can tell when life just happens, or some things you just bring on yourself because you didn't want to do it. And sometimes some people don't want to connect those dots because it takes work to connect the dots of life sometimes. I know for me, going to work full time, then having to sign up for school again, talk to an advisor, schedule my classes, stay on top of financial aid, staying on top of everything, staying on top of bills. Because bills are due every month. You know, bills are due every month. Trying to manage the kids, making sure my wife is okay, making sure the house is good. Plus, making sure I do my homework, manage my grades, and do my full-time job. A lot to think about, but guess what? If I would have took care of my business in my 20s, I could just take the education to be off the table, and it's just a little bit more simpler things to think about. But because I wanted to do what I wanted to do in my 20s, so I try to tell young people, please be smart, be efficient, and take care of your business in your 20s. Because when you get 25, 30, you ain't taking care of that business, it get rough, it get tough, and you playing catch up. And I got tired of playing catch up. I didn't want to get caught up in having to try to be figuring it out when I had time to do it now before I get in my 40s, mid 40s and 50s. It's a little too late. It ain't too late, but it's that mountain climb is harder when you get older. You do it when you're young, you got so much energy when you're younger. It's just where you apply that energy to. So, if a youth or younger person that I knew came up to me and said, Mike, what can I do to maximize or to do something that could change the game and I can be more efficient and be done with my education or my skill set or acquisition by the time I'm 27, probably before then, 25. I would tell him, instead of just getting a job at a retail store or a job that won't allow you to go to school, get a job, if you can, get a job at a college. Let's say if you get a job at ULA, right? You at University of Arkansas Little Rock, you get a job just being a janitor. You're 16, 17, 18 years old, get a job being a janitor, right? You want to go to school full time. Working at ULA, you can go to school full time or part time. You get an 80% discount off your tuition, I think, if they haven't changed it. And you can still get financial aid. Plus, you get a check from working there. And if you work there, you get benefits. And they have a meal plan you can use that come out of your check. Because you got to remember, you can still get your financial aid. You can invest it. You don't have to use all of your financial aid. You working there already, too. You getting paid from working there. So think about that strategy. You work at the college, you go to college, and you get financial aid. And if you don't have a house, you probably could stay on campus, too. Room and board. You can take half of the student loans of the Pell Grant. You can put that into a Roth IRA account, a retirement account in the S&P 20. And you can put $2,000 or $3,000 a semester in there, and you can have your own retirement started. Plus, if you work at the college, you will have a retirement with the college as well. But with you having your own retirement started, it gives you even more flexibility. So when you get done with college, you can start looking for different jobs. You can find where you want to go, but you're always putting money into your own Roth IRA, and that's building up with the S&P and investing and stuff. So you're making that money work for you instead of just spending. Then when you get done with college, you're like, where'd the money go? And I'm in debt now. But if you invest the money, sometimes you can invest the money and the net or the profit that you made will help you pay some of that student loan down, if not pay it off. So, but I'm not an investment guy. I'm just telling you something that I seen through hindsight, like stuff I could have did better from going to school and coming up like that. But yeah, think about that, because one thing you hear about these retail jobs is that they'll say, hey, you work here, we'll send you to school. I mean, you can go to school and work here. We give you tuition reimbursement. But the question I have for you is, from experience, from what I've seen, is when do you have time to do both? When you work at a job or you work at a career, a job, schedule is irregular unless you can find a job that makes sense like that. Most jobs, you're either going to work 2 to 11, 11 to 7, or 6 to 2. And sometimes you can alternate. 1 month you working one shift, the next month you working another shift, another month you working the graveyard shift. It can happen just like that. And when it being irregular, it's hard to try to plan your classes and school around it because your schedule is always changing. So how do you get a chance to use it? How do you get a chance to go to school and work at a job? Even at a career, you working 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 or 8 to 4:30. And you have to figure out you're going to be going to night classes or online classes. So you have to be real flexible. You have to really be on top of your game and be like laser focused. But let's say you're 18, you just graduated high school, you get a job at Euler or any college, and you go there at the same time. So now you're getting a discount on your tuition. And even now, you don't even have to work there now. They're giving away education now. I mean, they're giving away discounts to the new freshmen now. You'd be crazy not to take advantage of that. Even with an apprenticeship, before I found out after I got an IT with an apprenticeship, you can go work there. You get paid to work in the apprenticeship, and you work towards your apprenticeship certification. Like if you want to be an electrician, you can work at the apprenticeship, make probably $15, $18 an hour, work your hours to get towards your journeyman apprenticeship, and then you go to classes in the evening. They teach you the trade of being an electrician, and you can go be a journeyman. Then you can mess around and have your own stuff going, or you can work with somebody and you have your own stuff, or you can be a journeyman or be a master electrician, then go to school to learn how to run a business or to keep your books and your finances. And now, not only you have a trade, you get the trade and education to run a business. Now you like a double, triple threat almost. You got the triple crown. You got the education, the apprenticeship license, and you about to be an entrepreneur. So you doing a thing at that point. Even I tell with women, this is one of the best times for women in the job market right now. You take advantage of that. It's one of the best times. I mean, I see a lot of women leveling up, doing great things. It's the best time to do it. It's just you don't want to spend so much time being idle. Now is the time to take advantage of leveling up and adding value to yourself. Because I'm telling you, when this pandemic loosen up, if you don't level up, you're going to get left behind. It's going to be tough. And I told my wife that when it started to slow down, I said, I got to do something. I can't be in the same spot I was before the pandemic. I'm not going to do it. And I wasn't even in the bad spot then, but I had to stop being comfortable with where I was at and want for more. Not in the greedy way, but not be comfortable because I know it's more potential in this feeble body. I know it's more. I hadn't hit the whole threshold of what I could do yet, but I had to realize that. And I'm telling the youth or anybody, don't be afraid to take that journey to level up, because at the end of that journey, you have a higher chance of success. And that's why I wanted to relate to you today. The success after the pandemic. Level up. This is Mike. I'm signing out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for subscribing. I really appreciate you coming by, stopping by, looking at my content. More to come. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm signing out.